Well, again, welcome to our kind of weekly training series we're doing this month. And today we are talking about my top tips for balancing your hormones naturally and feeling good in your body again. And I think this is a very important conversation if you, maybe if you've never really understood hormones or don't know the impact it really does have on your body. Because when most people think about hormones, we think about just the female reproductive hormones that really impact us as women from a very young age up until we get into the perimenopause, menopause phase. And then after, right? I'm pretty sure we don't have any estrogen, or is it any progesterone? We don't have any progesterone. Our estrogen levels are super low. So there's a lot that happens in a woman's body, but our bodies are literally wonderland. Our bodies can do such amazing things, but our bodies are very smart. And so when we have hormonal imbalances, it really does not make us feel good. A bunch of different health issues can happen, but literally we'll feel brain fog, we can feel tired, we can feel weight issues or metabolism issues or weight resistance, insulin resistance, and a lot more other things, skin issues. And so I just wanted to have this conversation today to really kind of give you a little bit overall understanding of what hormones are, kind of a little mini hormones 101. Then some of the top ones that we need to consider as women, and then some areas of imbalances, like this may be an imbalance of your hormones if this is happening. And then just some lifestyle changes to kind of work on those imbalances. Now, hormones are a really serious thing. And so even sometimes when people change their lifestyle, it may not help long-term or help to the extent you want. I believe our lifestyle has a huge impact on it, on our hormones, but maybe we might need to seek additional help, right? So you may need to go get a hormones test, a Dutch test, or some other tests to really figure out which hormones are what they're doing. Maybe you need to do some blood tests. Maybe you need to see a functional doctor, all right? And so if you've been struggling with a lot of stuff around hormones for a while, or just you feel like you've been trying all the things I'm about to mention, definitely go see someone that's going to help you there. But I think for many of us, our lifestyle changes can help us balance our hormones and feel good in our body again. All right. So that's what we're going to cover. We're just going to cover a little bit about hormones 101, some top hormones to consider, some common imbalances you see, and some simple solutions to really kind of help you work on balancing your hormones. And I will say this before we get started, is that this week, I think this week and next week, I am offering some free mini Love Your Body breakthrough sessions. And this is basically a 20-minute session where together you'll fill out a survey beforehand, and then I just had one of them. It was just so amazing. And where you're going to come and we're just going to help you figure out 1 or 2 simple steps to help you break through in whatever you're struggling with in regards to your body. It could be something practical, like you're not quite sure how to eat in this season of life, or it could be a mindset shift that you're wanting to make. It could be something around the stuff we're talking about today, right? So I only have a few sessions I'm offering this week and next week. So if that is something you're interested in and you've never hopped on a call with me before, book that free session. Go to madewell345.com/strategy and find a spot in my calendar, even if it's not in the next couple of weeks, because that's full. You can do it in the week after too, but I'm asking everyone to book their call this week and next week, even if the call is a little bit after. Okay. So go to madewell345.com/strategy and you will get access to that Love Your Body breakthrough session. Okay. So let's dive on in. Okay. So what are these things that we call hormones? So basically your hormones is a part of your endocrine system, and your endocrine system is a collection of glands that produce hormones, which regulate your metabolism, your growth, your development, your tissue function, your sexual function, your reproduction, your sleep, your mood, your metabolism. Oh my gosh, what do hormones not do? And I love to talk about this because when I started studying this about nearly 2.5 years ago, I just wanted to do more stuff on my podcast. And so I actually have a lot of podcast episodes on hormones. If you're interested, I did like 8, I think. So definitely let me know and I can send you the link to that. And I just was so fascinated by how the female body worked, the human body worked, and that there's all these various systems designed to make our bodies function and function well. Now, when they're out of whack, that's when they cause us issues. And right just now, I just listed all those things and you're like, oh, what do my hormones not do? Nothing, because your hormones are in charge of almost everything. They are these chemical messengers that impact your overall health. Okay, so they're secreted by your cells in one part of your body and then bind to receptors in another part of your body, right? So say if, this hormone is doing this thing over here, it might send to another part of your body a message and connect there. It's kind of like a phone line, right? You pick up one person picks up a call, and then on the phone line, it kind of like does a little electricity. And then if it's all connected well, if both phone companies are connected and the wires are well, the other person on the other side is going to pick up and you're going to be able to communicate. Now, when there's almost when the hormone here is not functioning well, or the communication pathway isn't functioning well, or the receptor isn't functioning well, you're not able to communicate. Okay. So when we talk about balancing your hormones, we're talking about restoring that communication lines. And there's all these different, the HPA axis and all these other hormones that are supposed to be balanced, that aren't at the end of the day because of different things. Now, our hormones can get imbalanced from the littlest of thing, but we're talking about chronic imbalance, right? So they cannot communicate over a long haul. So hormones together are what we call this, they make this symphony in the endocrine system. And so, that's another metaphor example. They have to play in tune for a person to be healthy. And so all the other hormones follow suit, because if the violin is out of key, the other ones might be like, what's going on, right? They affect every tissue in the body. Again, they affect everything from gut health, muscle growth and recovery, bone health, and brain function. And there are tons of consequences when they're imbalanced, right? So there's all these various organs in your endocrine system. I don't want to have to go through too much of there, but if you've heard or you've been diagnosed with something with thyroid issues, there's thyroid hormones. And so maybe it's a hormonal issue, and thyroids impact your metabolic rate. Your pituitary gland impacts so many hormones, your growth hormone, your FSH and LH, your follicle stimulating hormone, and your luteinizing hormone, which is a huge part of the menstrual cycle, impact your ovaries, kidneys, uterus, breast tissue, and then will impact your menstrual cycle, growth division, milk production. And then your ovaries, estrogen and progesterone, will impact your uterus and your menstrual cycle. And for men, their testes and pancreas will impact your insulin and your glucagon. Insulin is what stores energy, right? From take out of your blood, stores energy in your body, helps build fuel the body weight needs. Glucagon is that stored energy, which needs to then be released, right? So just listing a bunch of those for you. Melatonin, right? And so there's so many hormones that our body are trying to release on a daily basis to impact our organs and perform a certain function for us. But there are many things that make them out of whack, okay? I'm not going to go into different categories. Just know there's different categories based off of how the hormones are created. There's the steroid hormones, which is typically created from LDL cholesterol. And so we do need that, right? But HDL cholesterol is also another way that is also important. And then non-steroid hormones are hormones that are located on the surface of the cellular, and they're made up of a bunch of different biological things. So there's different types. So I just want to talk to, okay, hopefully that was you understood that a little bit, but let me know, feel free to process, right? I love to teach, right? So what is your summary from what I just said? What are hormones and what are their impacts on your body? Well, hormones are these chemical messengers in your body that tell your body to do what it's supposed to do. It goes from one end to your body to another. And if one part of that connection is not working well, nothing works well. Not nothing, most things. So I just want to mention a few hormones in particular and how they, and then I'm going to talk about maybe the imbalances you see there, but why those ones are particular for you if you're trying to manage your weight, if you're trying to feel energy again, if you feel like your cycle is just kind of throwing you out of the loop most of the time, or you feel like your stress levels are high, you feel like you're not sleeping well, you feel like your cravings are high. These hormones have a role. And I just want to mention 7: estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, insulin, leptin, melatonin, and ghrelin. Okay. So Estrogen, we know, most of us know what estrogen is, but estrogen is the hormone of femininity, as it's responsible for a lot of the things we as women have: your ovaries, your adrenal, your fat cells, your brain. And in your ovaries, it builds up your uterine lining. It is really one of the most important factors in your ovulation, when your egg is released and can be fertilized. It's also responsible for some other great things, keeping our brain firing and our heart in shape. It's why us ladies have those curves, full lips, plump skin, healthy hair. It gives us sturdy and firm bones. It keeps our mucous membranes healthy and our pelvic muscles. It regulates cholesterol and our urinary tract. But some common imbalances you see surrounding estrogen can happen from a few things. Environmental toxins, and that's why I talk a lot about toxic load, particularly from an essential oil point of view, is that we as women are overloaded with toxins in our personal care and cleaning products. And so that really, there's kind of like these mimicking estrogens that are released, and it messes with our estrogen and endocrine system. So even reducing your toxic load can really help you in regards to monitoring your estrogen levels. Aging, because guess what? As you get older, your estrogen gets less. Poor detoxification pathways. There's certain organs in your body that are meant to detox your body naturally: your skin, your liver, your gut, your kidneys. But maybe something happens and it's not getting out. So your body's not detoxifying itself the way it should. Giving birth, levels drop. So you might have too much estrogen and too little. And let me know if this maybe sound like you. So too much estrogen, you might be feeling breast tenderness. You might have more weight gain. You might be feeling more heavy periods, headaches, mood swings, fibroids, breast tenderness again. Too little estrogen can be maybe some depression, vaginal dryness, incontinence, night sweats, insomnia. So some of those things you may be feeling might be the sign of too much or too little estrogen caused by poor detoxification pathways, environmental toxins, all those sort of things, okay? So let me know if any of those stood out to you and if you're like, I think my estrogen may be off. The next is progesterone. Progesterone is your keep calm and carry on hormone. It helps with the ability to soothe the nervous system. It's also what prepares the endometrium, so the lining of your uterus, for potential pregnancy after your body ovulates. And when you don't ovulate, it is what breaks down that lining and allows you to have the period that you have, right? Which is, for many of us, I know we've had so much trouble with periods, and there's a lot of great resources around helping with that, right? But I think the key is, it's like really understanding what's happening is that, man, your body's a wonderland. So it's preparing to create a human. And when it doesn't see that, it lets it go. But for many of us, because of different conditions or things, it could be hard. But just wanting to show you what the role of progesterone is. But also it helps maintain healthy brain function, mood regulation. It plays a role in easing anxiety, facilitating memory, healthy sleep, relaxation, and supporting breast, cardiovascular, and your nervous system. So lack of progesterone can be caused from so many things. Then some things outside of your control. But remember, I'm just talking about lifestyle factors here. It could be caused by too much stress. It could be caused maybe the lack of vitamins and minerals your body needs. Those are some causes, and again, a variety of them. But too little progesterone can lead to things like anxiety, chronic anxiety, irregular or shortened menstrual cycles, uncontrollable crying, insomnia, anxiety, and even infertility. Okay. So then let's talk about cortisol. So we talked about estrogen, we talked about progesterone. Let me know if any of those, you have any questions on that, any of that stood out to you. But let's talk about cortisol. Cortisol is your body's main stress hormone. It's released from adrenal glands at any sign of stress, physical, emotional, or mental, okay? And it's almost like your alpha hormone you need for survival. Cortisol is very high when you wake up. Like when you wake up, you're supposed to have quite a bit of cortisol to go ahead and be alert throughout your day. And it's supposed to diminish at night and melatonin become high. But often what happens is maybe your cortisol is high at night, and neither is your melatonin. So you're not getting the right sleep. So in the morning, cortisol is kind of low. The cycle is kind of reversed. And so we want to regulate this hormone as well. And there's so many factors, a little bit sometimes beyond your control, that impacts your cortisol, but how you respond to it is what we want to consider in regards to stress management. Cortisol is also responsible for mobilizing energy from storage sites in your body for immediate use, reducing inflammation and allergies, preventing the loss of sodium in the urine to help maintain blood volume and blood pressure, and it helps maintain mood and emotional stability. So we do need cortisol, but again, it's how much of it. Imbalances of that could be if you have too much stress in your life that you don't know how to manage, if you're feeling extensive burnout, if you do have adrenal fatigue from constant stress. Too much cortisol you might be feeling wired and tired. You feel like where your brain is very active, but your body's tired, exhausted. Too little could be linked to adrenal fatigue and what we call the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. I think that's what HPA axis stands for, which they're all kind of connected in this loop, and it can leave you completely exhausted within a weakened immune system. Okay. And we're going to talk about ways to manage all these hormones through simple, healthy habits in a bit. Okay. So we talked about estrogen, progesterone, cortisol. Let's talk about, so I'll talk a little bit about thyroids. I don't know if that was one of the 7. Let me see. Insulin, leptin. That wasn't one of the 7, but just know that your thyroids are really your thyroid hormones. Let's talk about it quickly. I only got 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going on too much, but basically your thyroid hormones, there's 2 main hormones. Okay. There's your T3 and your T4. Your T3 is the active form of the thyroid hormone. T4, the body does make a little bit of T3 on its own, but 80% of it needs to be converted from T4 to T3. T3 plays a role in regulating your body's metabolism, your heart function, your digestion, your brain development, your bone maintenance, and muscle control. In other ways, T3 helps your body stay slender or prevents brain fog and keeps you feeling happy. But an imbalance of not enough T3 or not enough T4, that process to convert the way it does can lead to weight loss or weight gain, heat or cold intolerance, anxiety or depression, insomnia or memory loss, hair loss, loose stools or constipation, menstrual irregularities, fertility issues. And again, thyroid imbalances can happen from a variety of things: stress, nutrient deficiencies, medication, heavy metals, infection, inflammation, and so forth, right? So thyroids play a very important role. I know some people, it's been on a rise to really struggle with either hypothyroidism or hyper, maybe not having a lot or too much. And so we want to consider, again, is our lifestyle playing an effect? So insulin again is your building or storage hormone. It's produced in the pancreas in response to energy. From all 3 macronutrients, carbs, proteins, and fat, but mostly carbs. Because when all carbohydrates, even fruits and veggies, enter your body, it breaks down into glucose or energy or sugar for your body to use, but your body cannot have all that sugar in your blood. So that's why it goes and stores it in your liver or your muscles for later usage. But when it has too much, it will actually then be stored as fat, right? So insulin is responsible for reproductive health, cell growth, repair, energy levels, and so much more. An imbalance of it can come from having too much carbohydrates in our body from stress, and it leads our body to keep producing insulin until it can't anymore, and it doesn't know what to do with all that sugar. So insulin resistance comes into play, which leads to things like high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Okay. So nutrition here will be a very common thing to really get support around. All right, so we talked about estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, thyroid hormones, and insulin. Now we're going to talk about leptin. This is what a lot of people don't know about, but basically it's known as the energy balance hormone, and it's primarily secreted in your fat cells and releases in proportion to the fat that is stored. So it's kind of like it's made from your fat cells. If you have enough or have too little, it'd be secreted to kind of balance that kind of stored body energy. It also helps regulate your appetite. by telling your brain how fat is stored, how much energy intake and expenditure there is, and tries to keep the body fat in balance. Now, it's produced often at night. So if you do not sleep enough, it will make your body think you're not full enough and you will want to eat more. Or it won't make it will tell your body you need more energy, again, that energy balance. So go and eat some foods that you know are going to give you quick energy, but probably aren't as nutritious for you, right? So too much processed foods can lead to this lack of sleep, because when we eat too much processed foods, it can cause more triglycerides and give us high blood sugar, which can lead to leptin resistance, which is an increase in fat storage. So we don't know whether we're full or not, but we have a lot of fat stored in our body. And then leptin resistance can lead to insulin resistance, right? So there's just a lot of this hormone resistance happening, often caused by what we eat or even lack of sleep. So sleep more and you have more leptin, and you might feel more full throughout the day or crave the foods that you know give your body the support it needs. Let's talk about ghrelin, and then we'll talk about melatonin. Ghrelin is kind of the opposite. It makes you feel hungry. It's what stimulates your appetite and energy long term. And this is actually produced when you don't sleep a lot at night. It's supposed to be produced throughout the day, but so when you don't sleep as well and your leptins decrease, you're going to feel hungrier because your body's like, she's not sleeping. She needs more energy. Let's give her some energy. But again, you're not always craving the foods your body really needs. You just want energy in whatever form possible. Okay. And then, oh man, there's so many. I don't even know if I said the same ones that I originally said, because there's actually I would usually talk about 15, but now I'm talking only about a few. So melatonin, and then we're going to talk about glucogen. So I think that's actually 9. But glucogen is, so melatonin, I'm sorry. Melatonin is your sleep hormone. Who doesn't want to sleep better? Its main function is to work together with your cortisol to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. So cortisol, again, needs to be higher in the morning, and melatonin needs to be higher at night. But because of our light exposure at night, melatonin isn't able to be increased as much as it needs to be. Melatonin also affects a woman's menstrual cycle, her regularity, reproduction, and menopause. So too much cortisol, too much estrogen, and even lack of sleep can, or too much light, can lead to poor melatonin production, which would make us just feel wired in the night instead of tired. And then that can just throw off us throughout the rest of the day. And the last one, glucogen, is your energy access hormone. So insulin stores it. Glucogen says, okay, release it. It takes the stored glycogen. It's a lot of words. Anyways, it releases it and says, hey, use this for energy in her body. Okay. And that can just be not as efficient when we have too much insulin in our body or too much carbs, because it's saying, oh, she already has energy. She has energy, but your body's saying, no, she doesn't. We need to store it. Okay. And so that's a lot, but I just wanted to give you an overall picture and understanding that when you have a couple of really important hormones in your body, you have estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, insulin, thyroid, melatonin, glucogen, leptin, ghrelin, those are 9, that really just play an important factor on your metabolism, your energy levels, your reproductive health, your weight, your blood sugar, your brain memory, growth, development, and so much more. And why I label this top tips to feel good in your body, again, because when those are regulated, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel energetic. You're going to feel vibrant. You're going to feel like your metabolism, your digestion is working as planned, right? So let me know in the comments of the hormones that I mentioned and the potential imbalances or things around it, which one stood out to you and which one do you feel like may be related to your health concerns? Okay. So I'm going to take 5 minutes and just kind of really give you some quick tips around this. Kind of mention them throughout. But if you're feeling like you don't have sustainable energy, you have unexplained weight gain, you have bone crushing fatigue, you have anxious feelings, you have wired and tired, your roller coaster mood cycles, heavy periods, long periods, a little to no periods, digestive distress, brain fog, skin issues, and thinning hair. There may be some lifestyle changes you can do to really support that. And honestly, I've done this as a whole masterclass before, like that was like an hour and a half. So I'm just giving you some little bits of that. But I'm going to say for you, the 7 pillars, this is where it comes with my healthy habits stuff that I do, helping you develop a healthy lifestyle that's more than about what you weigh. Those habits to changing small shifts in your nutrition, your exercise, your stress management, your sleep, your digestion, your toxic load, and then obviously hormone health kind of goes into that. And your mindset, that mindset tends to be the seventh area. You're going to experience a lot of breakthrough in your hormones. And so I just want to give you one small tip in each. Okay. So nutrition, my biggest tip for you there is to just try to have a balanced meal as often as you can. And what I mean by that is try to have a good nutritious source of protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Okay. And if you have any ideas of like what is a good nutritious source of that, I have a habits tracker that actually has a food chart in it, and has a food journal, a foods chart, and it can track some of these habits, and it's only $27. So you could definitely check that out. But also this is something we could talk about in that free mini session that I mentioned at the beginning. Okay. So eat whole foods, balanced meal. Okay. Exercise, find an exercise movement you enjoy and do it daily. Okay. Or not daily, as often as you can. I think we try to do either too much intense exercise or too exercise that we just don't enjoy, so we don't do it. So if you find, like, you love walking, how much can you walk and do it in a way that you enjoy and can do it consistently? Okay. Stress management, breathing. Practice the box 4 breath. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. What this does, it will reset your nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system is like, deal with the stress. Your parasympathetic says, be restful, be calm, keep calm. And so we want to shift into that parasympathetic and still deal with what's going on, but we can do it from a calm state. So breathing. Sleep. I would say watch your light exposure at night. I have out there, I have some blue blocker glasses, or I try to reduce my fluorescent light and put on the light dimming ones or candles to just help my body, indicate to my body it's nighttime, start to get tired and produce that melatonin. Because remember, when you sleep, a lot of those other hormones we talked about are going to be good and ready to go. Your digestion, really actually what you eat impacts your digestion, but managing your stress also impacts your digestion. But just getting good fibrous, good bacteria rich food. So if you're eating your greens, if you're eating your vegetables, your fruits, and good fats, and you're eating some stuff like kombucha or taking a probiotic, that's just going to really make your gut health happy. And a lot of your some hormones, even such as hormones or even neurotransmitters, are kind of produced in your gut. So serotonin is produced in your gut, and that helps you feel kind of calm, right? So that's some simple tips around digestion. Toxic load, pick one beauty product or cleaning product or that you use on a regular basis and do some research. Does it contain chemicals that are good for you or not? And you got to be careful. So some things are very sneaky, and I've done a lot of different stuff on this before. And I really help clients around this, but really figuring out what are it's like a dirty dozen of chemicals, really, like the ones you want to just make sure you don't have as much as you can. Fragrance is a very general term that, the industrial and the beauty industry does not have to like say what's in there. Parfum, that's what makes it smell good, but you just don't know what's in it. So that's maybe an example. It's not to say you can't have anything with that. So just look and see what's in those products you most use, and if you can switch it out. And then, your mindset and your hormone health will be impacted by all this, but your mindset, like, where are you in regards to this journey of hormone health in your body? Are you feeling discouraged? Are you feeling lack of motivation? Are you feeling like you have to do it all, like all or nothing? Or can you start to apply the more than your nothing thing? And mindset is something I love to support clients around, and I would love to help you within this small mini session. because what we feel about our health, our bodies, diets and the scale, our weight, and all of that impact our actions. So if you want to go and change these habits I talked about, you want to balance your hormones, you have to first look at your mindset. Okay. And so that was like a fire hose, 30 minutes of goodness of really figuring out what are your hormones, the role they play. The top, I said 7, but now I realize I said 9 hormones that can really impact your body and your body's health in a variety of ways. Common imbalances that may happen around that hormone and why, and then the effects, but then some simple ways that you can, lifestyle changes you can do to really start to shift your hormones. Okay. So action step for you from what I mentioned, the 4 areas, which hormone really stood out to you? What did you learn? Are you feeling like you're suffering with any of those conditions, the imbalances I mentioned? And then what's one, so where are you at in your hormones? What are you feeling? What symptom are you feeling within your body? And then 2, what is that one area you need to focus on? Nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, digestion, toxic load, mindset that will really support you in working towards balancing your hormones and feeling good again. Again, I remind you, if you have not booked a call with me, go ahead and book a free Love Your Body session, breakthrough session, madewell345.com/strategy while I still have some spots. And then 2, I mentioned my habits tracker. I will put that in the comments. But if you go to madewell345.com/habits tracker, you can get access to that tracker, which has food journal, a food chart, and then a simple kind of tutorial on how to use the habit trackers portion to really help you, just really help you figure out simple ways to incorporate some of these habits into your life. And so I'm going to put that in the comments. Grab the habits tracker here, madewell345.com/habits tracker. Only $27, comes with a tutorial and so forth, right? So that's it for me. If you were on live or watching the replay, I see a few of you are on. Thank you for joining. I got to run a couple errands, but grateful for you guys. Feel free to leave your questions, your thoughts, and your takeaways here, and I'll jump back in later. All right, talk to you later, friends.